You clicked on this video because something in you is ready. Maybe not completely ready, but curious. The title said, "Don't see this if you're not spiritually ready." And yet, here you are. You disobeyed. And that's beautiful, because disobedience is the first spark of awakening. When I say don't see this if you're not ready, I am not warning you. I am testing you. I am calling you out from the crowd of sleepwalkers, the ones who live, love, and die without ever truly being alive. The ones who think spirituality is comfort, not confrontation. If you're here, perhaps you've already felt that something in your life doesn't fit anymore. Your relationships, your beliefs, your religion, your success. Something feels false, and you are tired of pretending that it doesn't. I want you to understand this. Spirituality is not about feeling better. It's about seeing the truth, even when it destroys what you used to believe was you. That's why I said, don't watch this if you're not ready. Because once you start seeing, you can't unsee. Once you taste awareness, ignorance loses its sweetness. You have been taught to seek safety, in people, in systems, in ideas. But truth is dangerous. It burns all illusions. It kills the false self you've spent a lifetime protecting. Are you ready to die to who you think you are? Because that's what it means to be spiritually ready. To die, not physically, but psychologically, so that something vast, something real can be born within you. Your whole life, society has been hypnotizing you. It told you who you are. It gave you a name, a religion, a nationality, a purpose, and you accepted it. You were too young to question. Then you grew up, but your beliefs didn't. You're still carrying the mind of the child who was programmed to obey. You are not living your life. You are living someone else's script. Look around. Everyone is chasing happiness, but no one knows where it is. Everyone talks about freedom, but they're afraid of being alone. Everyone prays for truth, but runs away the moment truth knocks at their door. That's why I say, don't see this if you're not ready. Because truth doesn't care about your comfort. Truth is not a massage, and it's surgery. It cuts through every illusion you've built. People often come to me and say, Osho, I want peace. And I tell them, you don't want peace, so you want anesthesia. You want a spiritual sedative. You want to sleep more comfortably inside your dreams. True peace is not comfort. It is clarity. And clarity comes only when all lies are burned away. Right now, you are still carrying layers of conditioning that whisper in your mind, be good, be successful, be liked, be spiritual. And you believe those whispers belong to you, but they don't. They are echoes of 1,000 teachers, parents, priests, politicians, voices that colonized your mind before you even had one of your own. If you want to awaken, the first step is rebellion. Not against the world, but against everything false inside you, against every belief that was given to you, against every identity you didn't choose. Spirituality begins where imitation ends. Maybe you're feeling something right now, a subtle uneasiness. That's good. That's your false self, trembling. It knows that if you continue watching, something in you will begin to die. It knows it cannot survive the truth, so it will try to distract you. It will say, this is too much. This man is crazy. Go watch something lighter. But if you listen to that voice, you'll miss the very door your soul has been knocking on for lifetimes. Don't see this if you're not spiritually ready, because once you cross this threshold, there is no way back. You can't return to sleep after knowing what awakening feels like. You can't unhear the silence that speaks louder than words. You can't unknow your own consciousness. Once you see the ocean within, you can't be satisfied with drops anymore. This is not a video to entertain you. This is a mirror. And you may not like what you see because for the first time, you will see the masks you wear, the lies you live, the fears you hide behind. But if you can watch without turning away, if you can stay present with the discomfort, something miraculous begins. The real you, the silent observer behind all your roles, starts to emerge. You have spent your entire life trying to become someone, successful, respected, loved. Now for the first time I invite you to be no one, because only in being no one, you can finally be everything. Pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Don't think, just feel. Awareness begins with such small gestures. It's not about achieving enlightenment tomorrow. It's about noticing that you are alive now, breathing now, seeing now. That's where readiness begins, in this moment. You have waited lifetimes to arrive here. Don't waste it. You see, being spiritually ready doesn't mean you have read books or practiced meditation for years. It doesn't mean you sit in perfect posture and chant sacred sounds. Readiness is something else entirely. It is the courage to see what you have been avoiding all your life, to face yourself without the costume, without the makeup of identity. People ask me, Osho, when will I be ready? And I say, when you stop asking. Because the one who is asking is the same ego that will never be ready. The real readiness happens in the moment when you say, even if I am afraid, I will see. Fear is not the problem. Your escape from fear is. The world you live in is designed to keep you unready. Every advertisement, every political speech, every religious sermon, all whisper the same message. You are incomplete. You need something more. That's how they control you. Because an incomplete being is easy to manipulate, but the moment you realize that nothing is missing, that you are already whole, the entire structure of power begins to tremble. So when I tell you don't watch this if you're not ready, I am also telling you, beware. This knowledge is dangerous. Once you see that the emperor has no clothes, you cannot join the parade again. You will laugh where others bow. You will feel alone where others feel belonging. Because truth isolates before it liberates. It tears you away from the herd so that you can find your own path. It's easy to follow, it's difficult to see. Because seeing demands your entire being. And most people prefer the comfort of blindness. They build temples, they recite prayers, they perform rituals, but all this is a distraction. It's easier to worship a god than to know yourself, because knowing yourself means dismantling the entire illusion that someone else can save you. You were born free, completely free, but freedom frightened those around you. Parents, teachers, priests, they all wanted you to be good, and good simply meant obedient. The child who followed rules was rewarded. The one who questioned was punished. That's how society slowly replaced your curiosity with fear. They called it education, but it was domestication. Now look at yourself. You call your fears responsibility, your compromises maturity, your conformity wisdom. You wear your chains with pride, as if they were medals of honor, and then you wonder why you feel empty inside. You have traded your aliveness for acceptance. Spiritual readiness means reclaiming that lost fire, the fire to question, to doubt, to explore. It means standing alone, even when the whole world calls you mad, because every enlightened being was once called insane. When you start seeing what others refuse to see, madness becomes your new sanity. When Buddha left his palace, people thought he was crazy. When Jesus spoke of a kingdom within, they crucified him. When I tell you that you are not your mind, people laugh. But all these laughs come from the same fear, the fear of losing what never belonged to them. Ask yourself, who would you be if everything you think about yourself disappeared? If I took away your name, your job, your past, what remains? Silence, awareness, pure presence. That is you. Not the stories, not the roles, not the wounds. You are the space in which they all appear and disappear. But you are addicted to stories. You define yourself by your suffering. You say, I am this way because of my childhood, my parents, my trauma. You keep polishing your wounds, showing them to the world as if they were trophies. Stop worshipping your pain. Stop protecting it. Pain is not your identity. It is the invitation to transcend identity. Don't see this if you're not ready, because I will not comfort your pain. I will expose its root, and the root is always your attachment to illusion. You suffer because you want reality to obey your mind. But reality doesn't obey anyone. It simply is. The moment you stop fighting with what is, suffering evaporates like mist under sunlight. Do you see how much energy you waste resisting life? You want people to be different. You want the past to change. You want your emotions to behave. You are constantly editing existence according to your desires. And that's why you are tired. Suffering is not in the experience. It's in the refusal. Awakening is not about becoming someone better. It's about realizing there is no someone there to begin with. The person you think you are is just a bundle of memories, reactions, and borrowed beliefs. A shadow cast by conditioning. When you start observing it, not fighting it, not improving it, simply watching, it begins to dissolve. And then something magnificent happens. You experience yourself not as a person, but as consciousness itself. Vast, unbounded, silent. That silence is not empty, it's full. Full of awareness, full of presence, full of life. That's your true nature. But the ego is terrified of this discovery, because if you are not the mind, then the mind loses its kingdom. It will fight, it will scream, it will create distractions. It will even use spirituality as a disguise, quoting scriptures, meditating with pride, pretending to be humble. The ego can wear a monk's robe or a business suit. It doesn't matter. It just needs an identity. So be alert. Even in your search for truth, the ego hides. It says, I'm awakening faster than others. The moment you compare, you've lost it. True awakening has no competition. It's the disappearance of the competitor itself. You may not be ready for this yet. That's fine, just listen. Let the words enter you like seeds. One day, when the soil of your being is ready, they will sprout on their own. You don't have to force awakening. You only have to stop resisting it. You are afraid of losing control, and yet control is the very thing that keeps you imprisoned. The more you try to control life, the more lifeless you become. Have you noticed? Every time you plan, you tighten. Every time you hold on, you stop breathing. Life is not something to be managed. It is something to be lived. The river does not consult a map before it flows. The flower does not attend a seminar before it blooms. Only the human mind insists on knowing before living, preparing before experiencing. That's why you are exhausted, because you are trying to swim against the current of existence. I have seen people trying to control even their spirituality. They turn meditation into a competition, enlightenment into a career. They measure progress, compare techniques, chase peace as if it were a product on a shelf. But peace cannot be pursued. The very act of pursuit destroys it. You find peace only when you stop running, when you sit in silence and allow life to unfold without your interference. Don't see this if you're not spiritually ready, because readiness means surrender, and surrender terrifies the mind. The mind wants to be the master. It wants to dictate how things should be, but existence doesn't negotiate. It has its own intelligence, far deeper than your logic. When you trust that intelligence, when you stop fighting what is, a strange calmness descends upon you. That calmness is not dull. It's alive, alert, radiant. Most people confuse surrender with defeat. They think it means giving up. But surrender is not giving up. It's waking up. It's realizing that the one who thought he was in charge never existed. When you let go, you don't lose control. You discover there was never anyone controlling in the first place. You are not the driver of this life. You are the road on which life moves. You are not the wave struggling to stay afloat. You are the ocean itself. You suffer only because you keep identifying with the wave. You keep saying, I am separate. But how can a wave be separate from the sea? Even while it rises and falls, it is nothing but water. The ego hates this truth. It feeds on separation. It says, I am special. I am unique. I am different. And yet what is this I? It is a collection of borrowed ideas. Your uniqueness doesn't come from being different. It comes from being real, from being utterly yourself, unborrowed, unmasked, unfiltered. You've been taught to become somebody. I'm inviting you to become nobody. The moment you drop the effort to become, you start to be. And being is the most extraordinary experience there is. It's simple, it's pure, it's innocent. Look at a child playing. No goal, no purpose, no achievement in mind. Just play. That's meditation, that's freedom. But you have forgotten how to play. You live in seriousness, in constant tension. Your mind is a battlefield. What you should do, what you should have done, what you must not forget. You are enslaved by should. Drop it. There are no shoulds in existence. The tree does not should to grow, it simply grows. The sun does not should to shine, it simply shines. Only man carries this burden of imaginary obligations. People come to me and say, Osho, I want to know the purpose of life. And I laugh. Because life has no purpose. It is itself the purpose. A flower doesn't bloom for a reason. It blooms because blooming is its nature. You are not here to fulfill some cosmic plan. You are here to live, to experience, to be aware. That's all. When you drop the obsession with meaning, life becomes meaningful. Don't see this if you're not ready, because this will shatter every belief you've been holding. It will tear away the comfort of your philosophies, but it will give you something greater, clarity. And clarity is liberation. You were born complete. Every child comes into the world with all the light it will ever need. Then society begins to dim that light, layer by layer. It teaches you to hide your wildness, to suppress your tears, to censor your joy. It turns you into a well-behaved machine. And then one day you wake up and call that misery adulthood. To awaken spiritually is to reclaim your wildness, to remember the freedom you had before you were told how to live. When you dance without purpose, when you laugh without reason, when you cry without shame, that is spirituality. Not the stiff rituals, not the solemn faces in temples, but the freedom to be fully human. Your mind will say, "This is dangerous. If I drop control, my life will fall apart." But look honestly, has control ever really worked? You have tried to manage everything and your relationships, your emotions, your future, and still, life surprises you. Still, things fall apart. Still, you suffer. Maybe the problem is not life. Maybe the problem is your insistence on controlling it. The truth is, when you let go, life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. You begin to flow with existence instead of fighting it. You start feeling a strange harmony with everything. You become part of the dance, and that dance is what mystics call God. You don't have to believe in God. Belief is for those who haven't experienced. Once you taste the divine, belief becomes irrelevant. You don't need faith when you have eyes. You don't need hope when you have awareness. God is not a person, not a father in the sky. God is the totality of existence, vibrating in every heartbeat, in every leaf, in every breath you take. If you are ready, you can feel it now, in this very moment. The pulse of life within you. The same energy that moves the stars is moving your lungs. The same intelligence that grows the trees is growing your consciousness. You are not separate. You never were. You only forgot. And when you remember, truly remember, everything changes. Fear disappears. Desire softens. The noise of the mind fades, and what remains is silence. Luminous, living silence. That is where real life begins. You have been told that truth will make you happy. That is not true. Truth will first destroy you. And only then, when the false has died, will joy arise. Joy is not something you achieve. It is what remains when illusion is gone. But most people are afraid of that destruction. They want light without fire, growth without change, awakening without dying. That's why they keep reading, praying, seeking, anything to postpone the actual seeing. I am not here to give you comfort. I am here to remove the lies you call comfort, because comfort is the coffin of the soul. It keeps you warm while you decay. You are meant to live dangerously, not with violence, but with awareness. Awareness is the greatest adventure there is. You can live two kinds of life, a life of repetition or a life of revelation. The life of repetition is what society teaches you, the safe path, the predictable path, the respectable path. But revelation comes only when you step into the unknown, when you stop imitating, when you stop following and start seeing. That's why I tell you, don't see this if you're not ready, because the unknown is not kind to your comfort. It will take away your certainties, your definitions, your labels. It will strip you naked, and in that nakedness, you will meet yourself for the first time. You keep asking, who am I? But the real question is, who am I not? Because everything you think you are, your past, your opinions, your fears, is temporary. The only thing that never changes is awareness. That awareness is your real self. Not something you create, but something you uncover when everything else is gone. When you sit in silence, when thoughts begin to fade, you start feeling it, a subtle presence, a witnessing energy behind everything. That witness is your essence. It was there when you were a child, it's here now, and it will remain after your body is gone. It's not born, it doesn't die. It is eternal consciousness, observing the play of life. But you've been hypnotized to believe that you are only the actor, not the stage. You keep changing roles, worker, parent, lover, seeker, and you forget the silent awareness behind all of them. You become lost in the movie of your own mind. That's why you suffer, because you confuse the passing scene for yourself. Imagine sitting in a theater. The movie begins, drama, pain, laughter. You cry, you laugh, you react. But suddenly you remember, I am not in the movie. I am the watcher. In that moment, everything changes. The movie continues, but now you are free. You can enjoy it without being enslaved by it. That's what awakening feels like. Life continues, but you are no longer trapped in it. When you realize this, something extraordinary happens. You stop taking life personally. You stop blaming others. You stop defending your opinions like a soldier. You see that everyone is playing their role unknowingly, guided by the same universal consciousness. The anger disappears. The guilt dissolves. Compassion arises, not as a moral duty, but as a natural fragrance of awareness. People think compassion is a choice. It's not. Compassion happens when the ego disappears. When you see clearly that there is no other, how can you not be compassionate? The hand doesn't hate the foot. Both belong to the same body. When you awaken, you realize that humanity is one being, breathing through billions of forms. But be careful. The mind will try to make even compassion into an identity. It will say, "Look how spiritual I am, how loving I am." That's not compassion. That's ego in disguise. Real compassion has no pride, no agenda, no expectation. It is spontaneous, like a flower sharing its fragrance because it cannot help it. The mind wants to possess even the divine. It says, "I have found God, I have reached enlightenment." The moment you say "I," enlightenment is gone. The I cannot be enlightened. Only its absence can. Enlightenment is not an achievement. It is the disappearance of the achiever. Are you ready for that disappearance? Because this is the final step, the death of the I, the most terrifying and the most liberating event in existence. It feels like dying, because everything you have identified with begins to dissolve. Your ambitions, your image, your story. But once the storm passes, you realize you have not died. You have become infinite. You are not in the universe, and the universe is in you. The stars, the oceans, the silence of night, all arise within your consciousness. There is no boundary between you and existence. This is what mystics mean when they say, "I and the whole are one." It is not poetry. It is reality seen without distortion. Yet don't mistake these words for truth. Words are only fingers pointing to the moon. Don't hold on to the finger. Look at what it points to. Experience it. Truth can never be given, only awakened. I can only shake you, provoke you, disturb you, but the seeing must happen inside you. And maybe as you listen now, something within you is stirring. A quiet recognition, as if you've heard this before, somewhere deep in your being. That's because you have. Every soul carries the memory of its own divinity. I'm not teaching you something new. I'm helping you remember what you've always known. Don't see this if you're not spiritually ready, because remembering who you are will cost you who you think you are. It will cost you your comfort, your false security, your imagined control. But it will give you everything real: freedom, silence, love. You have spent your whole life trying to become something, more intelligent, more spiritual, more successful. But have you ever stopped and asked, who is this someone who wants to become? That someone is the illusion. The seeker is the problem. Because as long as you are seeking, you remain separate from what you seek. When you are spiritually ready, the seeking stops. You no longer run after truth like a hunter. You sit still and truth finds you. You realize it has been here all along, waiting for you to stop searching outside. The moment you stop striving, you start seeing. That's why I say don't see this if you're not ready, because this message is not for the mind that wants more knowledge. It is for the being that is tired of running. If you are still collecting ideas, this will frustrate you. But if you are ready to let go of all ideas, even the idea of awakening, something miraculous will unfold within you. You don't have to climb any spiritual ladder. There is nowhere to go. Enlightenment is not a destination. It's your natural state, obscured by clouds of thought. Stop chasing the sky. Just let the clouds drift away. In this moment, as you hear my voice, awareness is already present. It has never left you. You are the witness of the words, the silence between them, the breath entering and leaving your body. That witnessing is enlightenment. You are already home. But the ego doesn't want simplicity. It wants achievement. It wants to do enlightenment, to earn it, to prove it. Yet awareness cannot be earned because it's what you already are. You cannot reach yourself. You can only stop running away. Look at a mirror. What do you see? A face, a body, a story. But behind that something is watching. That watcher, a silent, unchanging, is your real self. It has never been touched by sin, by suffering, by time. It is eternal. Once you recognize that, even death becomes a joke, because death can only touch what is temporary. It cannot touch consciousness. You have been afraid of so many deaths, the death of relationships, of identity, of control. But death is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Every death clears space for something new to be born. If you can die willingly, psychologically, you will never die again. You will live in freedom. The spiritually unready person fears loss. The ready person embraces it, because they know that nothing real can ever be lost. Only the false disappears. When illusion dies, reality shines. When the I dies, love is born. Love, not as emotion, not as attachment, but as the fragrance of being. When you are aware, you are love. It radiates from you without reason. You love the trees, the sky, the stranger walking by. You love not because they deserve it, but because love is your natural state. The greatest miracle of awakening is that nothing outside you changes, but your vision does. You see the same world, but now it's transparent. You see through it, as if every leaf, every sound, every face is made of light. You realize that existence is divine, not because someone told you, but because you have tasted it. And then gratitude arises, not towards anyone in particular, but toward life itself. You bow not to a god, but to the sheer mystery of being. That bow is the most sacred prayer. It has no words, no petition, only awe. Don't see this if you're not ready, because once this happens, you will never again be the same. You will laugh more, cry more, love more, but from a place of freedom, not fear. You will live without armor. You will die without regret. People will not understand you. They will call you strange, detached, maybe even arrogant. They won't see that you are simply free. They are still dreaming, and you have woken up. Don't try to wake them. Let your silence speak. Let your presence disturb them in the way truth disturbed you. That's how transformation spreads, not by preaching, but by being. If you are listening now, and something inside you feels still, stay with it. Don't label it. Don't analyze it. That stillness is the doorway. Step through it. Everything you've been seeking is on the other side, and the other side is not far away. It's here. It's now. There are two kinds of people, those who hear these words and move on, and those who stop, deeply stop, because something inside them recognizes the truth. If you are one of those, your journey has already begun. You don't need to go anywhere. You only need to be aware. Before I end, let me tell you this. Don't make a philosophy out of my words. Don't turn them into beliefs. Let them dissolve in you like sugar in water. Sweet, invisible, gone. What remains is silence, and that silence is the true teaching. Sit in that silence for a few moments. Feel your breath. Feel the heartbeat. Feel life moving through you. That is meditation, not an act, but a realization. Now, if you have truly heard me, not just with your ears, but with your being, you are no longer the same person who started this video. Something in you has shifted, maybe subtly, maybe profoundly. Don't rush to define it. Let it unfold naturally. And if this message resonates with you, share it. Not to convince others, but to awaken the same recognition in those who are ready. Because truth doesn't belong to anyone. It flows through whoever is open enough to receive it. This is not an ending. This is a beginning of seeing life as it is, naked, raw, beautiful. Don't see this if you're not spiritually ready. But if you have seen, if you have felt even a spark of what I am pointing to, then welcome home.